Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, please continue.
All right. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on your location. So today's webinar is cost of data breach. My introduction, my name is Athar Rawan. I'm cybersecurity consultant. I'm electronics engineer with MBA by qualification. So I'm passionate for cybersecurity with a career of almost 15 years of experience, worked with different industries like telecom, media, and financial sector. So as a cybersecurity consultant, I have been helping organizations for their risk assessment, reviewing their security posture, and advising them about emerging opportunities and threats. So today's webinar agenda. So we will be starting from data breach definition, largest data breaches of past few months and their root causes, global statistics of data breaches cost, how to calculate cost of data breach, and some data breach case studies as well. So factors affecting cost of data breach, factors that lead to cost of data breach to increase or decrease. So cost of data breach reduced due to artificial intelligence and machine learning adoption. And finally, ways to prevent data breaches. In which an individual's name, medical record, or financial record, or debit card is potentially put at risk, either in electronics or paper format. From leaked trade secrets to disclose customer personal information, a data breach can quickly transform into crisis. So there are three main causes of data breach: malicious or criminal attack, system glitch, or human error. The cost of data breach vary according to the cause and safeguards in place at the time of data breach. So next is who is going to be impacted. So research showed that by the 2020, about 1.5 billion people worldwide will be affected by data breaches. And in fact, I think you are receiving nowadays phishing emails coming from courier companies or from phishing emails from banks, and they require you to click and then exploit. So these are all and then they basically access your computer or records. So recent years largest breaches, as you can see in this slide, from 2015 to 2019, we had larger data breach. So if we can see, Equifax is 143 million people or records of breaches. So similarly, Twitter 330 million, Yahoo 500 million, and similarly Merit and some other big names as well, like Facebook. So in this slide, there are, in 2019 so far, we have in February, March, the breaches, some of the main breaches are mentioned here. So we can see their entity, number of record loss, and their story as well. If you can see, if you want to have more information, you can. There are sources links as well, so you can check the details later on after this webinar. So data breaches root causes, like we discussed in previous slide. 48% of total are basically malicious or criminal attacks. 27% are human errors due to some misconfiguration or configuring configuration mistakes by the people, and 25% are the system glitch. So this is the global cost of data breach. We can see that average cost of data breach is $3.86 million, while average cost per record is $148. In the below part, we can see the average time to identify a breach is 196 days, and average time to contain a breach, to fix it or restoring back is 69 days. On the right side, we can see that top 3 cost reducing factors, and below is the cost increasing factors. So in incident response, extensive use of encryption, and business continuity management procedures. So these are the basically factors. Those are contributing to reduce the cost of overall data breach. And on the right, on the bottom one, we can see the top 3 cost increasing factors, like if we involve third-party involvement or extensive cloud migration or compliance failures. So organization need to pay penalty to the regulators. So this year we noticed that the average total cost of data breach, the average cost of each lost or stolen record per capita cost, and the average size of data breaches, they have all increased beyond the 2017 report averages. Those are all costs has increased. So average total cost rose from 3.62 to 3.86 million. So we can see an increase of about 6.4%. The average cost of each lost record, that basically rise from $141 to $148, so an increase of 4.8%. I got questions from the audience. I can't see the slides. I can hear audio, but no slides, so there is no title slide. Can anybody answer if they can able to see the slides well and hear well as well? Please, anyone? You can write in the question section if you are able to see the slides and hear well. Maybe those guys have their problem in with their audio or with their video. Some application problem maybe. Okay, so we will carry on. Yeah, I received responses. Look like there is problem with the slides. All right, here we go. I think you'll be able to see the slides now. So we were discussing about the global cost of data breaches. So the average cost of each lost record that basically rise from $141 to $148. That was increased about 4.8%. And finally, the average size of data breaches in this research increased by 2.2%. All right, so now how the cost of a data breach is calculated. So the method used is activity-based costing method. Basically, what activities are used during the data breach, or so we can use this method to calculate the total cost of data breach. So those are basically timely detection and escalation. So activities that enable a company to detect and report the breach to appropriate personnel with specific time period. So those examples are like forensic and investigative activities, assessment and audit services, incident response team or crisis management team, and communication to executives, management, and board of directors. All right, so next is post-data breach responses. Processes that help the individual or affected customers by the breach to communicate with the company and regulatory body. So depending on which region you belong to, if you are here in Australia, so there are the regions, there are the regulatory bodies like to notify the data breach. And there are some other, global organizations like GDPR, so we need to inform them as well. So the examples are help desk activities, issuing new accounts or credit cards, legal expenditures, product discounts, regulatory fines. Because when there is a data breach, sometimes organizations, they offer product discounts. So that leads to cost as well. All right, next is notification cost. So these costs are to notify individuals who had data compromised in the breach and regulatory communications. So examples are emails, letters, outbound calls, engagement of outside experts, communication with regulators for determining regulatory requirements and fines. And then lost business cost. So the cost associated with lost business loss as a result of customer loss, business disruption, and system outages or downtime. So those examples are cost of business disruptions and revenue loss from system outages. Cost of lost customers and acquiring new customers. And finally, reputation losses and diminished goodwill. So end of this slide, there are some case studies like Uber, and then Facebook, Equifax. So in 2016, Uber's 57 million user accounts were breached. So what they did, so instead of reporting the incident, the company paid to the hacker about $100,000 to keep the hack under wrap. So those actions, however, cost the company heavily. So Uber was fined about $148 million by British and Dutch regulatory authorities due to failing to disclose breach to regulators and affected individuals. UK regulatory Equifax. So UK regulatory, they fined Equifax £500,000 for 2017 security breach. And finally, you all aware about Facebook. I think they are in finalized stages. So they will. It is expected that they could be fined up to 1.6 billion due to data breach and non-compliance to notify the breach. So in this slide, we are basically comparing. If we see on the right-hand side column, there is a cost saving, and below is the cost addition. So this is a great slide. If you see that incident response team, if we have incident response team, so it will be cost saving about $14 per record. Then extensive use of encryption, $13.1. Then business continuity management program, employee training, participation in threat sharing, artificial intelligence platform, or use of security analytics, extensive use of DLP, data loss prevention controls, board level involvements, FISO appointment, data classification schema, insurance protection, and CPO appointed. In the below section, we can see that how cost is basically added. So provision of ID protection, consultant engagement. So this consultant engagement is basically involving external third party. If I go back slide. So here we discuss about engagement of outside experts. So if we are going to involve outside experts, so of course it will increase our cost. All right, so rush to notify, extensive use of IoT devices, lost or stolen devices, then extensive use of mobile platform, compliance failures. So it depends on the industry. If there is a health organization, so they have health information system, and accordingly they have their own regulatory authority. Or if it's financial institutions, so they have their own regulatory authority. So and also compliance framework as well. So these compliance failures as well, these are added cost as well. So extensive cloud migration. And then third party involvement. So factors affecting the cost of data breach. So breaches will happen, but how to act to mitigate them has a very real impact on the bottom line. While the initial data breach is certain to cost money to fix, things get a great deal more expensive when they are mishandled. For example, Equifax made a bad situation a lot worse by delaying disclosure, misdirecting potential victims, and failing to patch new vulnerabilities. So it stands to reason that the faster a data breach is uncovered and contained, the less it will cost. That's why in the previous slides we discussed about mean time to identify and then mean time to contain. So the faster we will be notifying, and so lesser will be the cost. Similarly, the faster we will be containing the data breach or fixing it, restoring the services, so lesser will be the cost. So on the average, it take about 191 days last year, without another 66 days on average to require to contain the breach. So these times could be reduced if every organization would keep up to date with like NIST cybersecurity framework or PCI compliance framework. So they keep tighter control of its data and consider scanning the dark web for threat intelligence. So these in these ways, basically we can reduce the cost. All right. So next is the effect of using AI and machine learning adoption. So for the first time, this year's study examined the effects of organizations those are adopting artificial intelligence as a part of their security automation strategies and use of machine learning. So nowadays, organizations are basically, in addition to deploying the SIEM, they are using for security orchestration and security automation. So in the SOC environment, instead of multiple people they are working on to identify and manually escalating the things, now if you have playbooks, those are integrated with the with your platform, so those are basically automation, and it's quickly escalating. So artificial intelligence security platforms, they save companies money, an average of around $8 per compromise record, and use of machine learning, analytics, and orchestration to help human responders to identify and contain breaches. But the only problem is because of expensive solutions, not every company is adopting this one. So only 15% of companies they surveyed, and they said that they had fully deployed artificial intelligence. All right, so next is ways to prevent data breaches. So on top one is encryption, which is basically highly recommended. So if we are using encryption, so hackers will not be able to decrypt data without decryption keys. But it all depends on encryption parameters as well, how strong the encryption we are using. Then training and awareness program. So organizing educational workshops around how to use sensitive data and how to avoid possible mistakes that will promote security awareness within the organization. So according to numerous studies, a higher percentage of security breaches are caused by an employee. Therefore, promoting security awareness within the organization is the key to data loss prevention in workplace. So invest in protection. So security intelligence solution, like I said, deploying some SIEM if the environment is big enough for enterprise organizations, so endpoint security solution, identity access management solution, and DLP solutions. So enforce IT policies like password settings, server configurations, firewall configurations, patch management. If we are reviewing those continuously, so it will basically save a lot of efforts, and also saving a lot of money from organization perspective as well. So additional manual procedures and controls. If we have mature manual procedures and control how to react in the like incident response procedures and other SOPs, so those will help to prevent data breach as well. Like during the projects, how we are making sure that during the deployment our product is safe enough before it go live. Security certification or audit. So like security certifications, if we have security certification, or if we have audits like internal audit or external audit, So that will help as well. So strengthening of perimeter controls, like our perimeter controls, our edge devices, like border routers or firewalls, those are exposed. Those are exposed with the public network. So we have to see that how strengthening they are. So it is estimated that 93% of 2017 breaches, they could have been prevented with basic security steps, such as regularly updating software patches, blocking fake emails that contain ransomware, and training staff to recognize and avoid phishing attacks. All right, so the final slide is references. So these are the references. I took material from these sources. So thanks all for attending. So now we have a question and answer session. So feel free to ask questions. And sorry for having trouble. Initially, some people, they were unable to see slides. So for your information, I will upload these slides as well. And you can basically download these slides. So feel free to ask questions if you have. So no questions so far. I will take it all good. All right, guys, if you have no questions, so thank you very much for attending this webinar.